Good afternoon. Roll. We don't take a roll call, do we?
Well, we'll just go around.
Oh,
We'll just
okay,
go do-
okay. Steve Spoolhoff, Park Township.
Josh Hiddleston, Zealand Township.
Once I get the food out of my mouth, it's Alan Hines from Olive Township.
John Youngster, Fillmore Township. Alec Miller, the Mac.
Shannon Fritz, Mac.
Eric Dykstra at the Mac.
Larry Brown, Allegan County Road Commission.
Blake Grant, MDOT Granders and Planning.
Matt Van Dyken, City of Holland.
Brian DeBahi, Max Transit.
Rusty Saw, Holland Charter Township.
Jordan Dretzma, Ottawa County.
Frank Garcia, Ottawa County Road Commission.
Tom Bird at large.
Jason Latham with the Mac,
Absolutely.
and we have a quorum.
Yeah, great. So rise.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So now it's
All right.
approval of the
Minutes? Any addition or deletions to the minutes? Seeing none, I'll take motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Support.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Any amendments to the agenda? Additions, deletions? All right, seeing none, we'll take the agenda as it stands. Any public comment? Open the public comment. I don't see anybody. All right, I'll close the public comment. Thank you. All right, and moving on to the transportation program.
fantastic.
How'd I do,
You
boss?
did good. Thanks. Way to go.
All right.
Put you in the hot seat.
Yeah,
right
right,
off.
man.
Yeah, have your lunch.
There's my lunch.
All right, Alec, you're up.
All right, thanks for braving the weather to get here. I know we all wanted that lunch really bad, so thanks for coming. First up, we have our traffic counts for 2026. These will be in May, right, around May, but after tulip time. We don't want to do the traffic counts during tulip time. That'd be pretty wild. We sent out an RFP and we got two quotes, DLZ 16.9 and then AECom 18,000. And so we did AECom last year because they had the lower bid and it was a little bit of a headache to deal with them. It was not the best. DLZ are the people we normally do. So we are recommending DLZ. Yeah,
How often do we do traffic counts?
every year.
Just always in May?
5 locations.
Always in May?
Generally.
May or September. We do it while kids are in school because we want to make sure we get that normal school time operation. And I guess we've done them in October as well. But we stay away from the summer because we don't want to have that influx. And then the engineering firm that is requested, they do have normalization, so they do the counts and then they normalize it throughout the year to give us our standard annual average daily traffic.
I would think May would still be a pretty high traffic time.
Yeah.
Is the goal to get high numbers?
The goal is to get it in normal operation, not during, end of May is probably still okay because kids are in school, but June, July, and August, we don't want to have that, the summer influx, if you will.
I think hope is done
Yeah.
by that point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're done.
It's
on-
done before tulip time.
Yeah, before tulip, yeah.
I would think we would want them.
Involved as well. Yeah, if we can get April, April's fine too. If it's whenever, we do work with them to get what's the best time to do traffic counts, and they say skip the summer, and as long as you have kids in school, which we generally say is the non-college students, but September, October, or usually May, April. If we're ready ahead of time, they'll do it in April.
Yeah, if you guys want April, I mean, we can ask them to do it towards the end of April.
I would just think, I mean, end of April, you're already getting tulip time traffic. A little bit after tulip time, you're probably still getting some. But, yeah, Hope College is already out. I would think that they're there's a lot of traffic from them downtown when they're in school, so that's just my thought.
Yeah, no, it's a good thought. We typically do 50 locations, and we move them around throughout every year. We'll come back and revisit the same locations up probably every 4 years to 5, but we do run it by the Technical Advisory Committee to make sure they're okay with those locations and those are locations that they want. And then all that data is uploaded and shared with MDOT that goes into the statewide model that we use in our long-range transportation projections.
Okay. Would you have an issue if you did April to avoid the first week or week and a half because of, we do have the mass exodus of spring break people
Right.
in April too, so.
Yeah, all that's taken into consideration to make sure that we get the counts that we think are the best. And like I said, they will add factors to it to normalize it, to make sure they understand what it is throughout the year, or what it would be. So, I mean, we could do it in July 1st, and then they'd say, okay, well, add this factor, and this is what that equates to throughout the year. But the higher that factor is, then the less reliable the data is. So we found that if you can get it April, May, or September, October, those are the best times.
And we do skew heavy towards the city of Holland because, frankly, they have the most road mileage, federal aid road mileage. And Ottawa County, they do a lot of their own counting, so we don't want to double count. So we do coordinate with the road commissions in the cities on locations. I already have them all right now, so. Once the quote is approved, I'll send it over to our contractor that we selected, and then we can see if they can get them done in mid-April instead of after tulip time. So I'm fine with that. And I think we avoid like that September time because that messes with fiscal year invoicing and things like that, because then fiscal year ends or starts in October 1st. So yeah, but we can do that. It's fine.
I'll make a motion to select DLZ to conduct the Macc 2026 track counts for $16,900.
All right, we got a motion and support. Any further comments or questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And then opposed, same sign? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we have 2 tip amendments on here. It looks like there's a lot more, but it's just different sections of the same. So just look, if you look at their column, responsible agency. So the first one is MDOT. That is a multi-MPO bridge patching job. So that's another reason you might look at the county column and say, why is it say Kent when the Macc isn't in Kent County? I think they base that off just who has the most that gets designated as like the home county, but it's a whole grand region. Deck patching and crack sealing on bridges, multiple locations for that. And then the second one is a roundabout that's going on 120th. And this is for Ottawa County. And this is an amendment because Brett reached out to me in December, because we didn't have a early one. But yeah, he reached out to me and they had a bunch of extra local funds. So all they did was just add money to the project. And then every time there's a phased budget adjustment over 24%, it triggers an amendment. So they took their own money and just added it to the job to increase their local. And then the other one is just a MDOT bridge patching job. So if there's any questions or if any of the responsible agencies want to give a little more insight, if not.
I can add, it's roughly 15 total structures that we're touching, 4 of which are in the Macc area. So it would be good to get out there, do some preventive maintenance work on those structures, and hopefully extend the life out of them. So that's all I got.
All right, if no further discussion, ask for a motion.
So moved.
Do we have support?
Support.
We got support. Russ? Any further comments or questions? All in favor, respond with aye.
Aye.
And then same sign for opposed. All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Last one.
Safety targets. These targets, they come from MDOT, and the Macc has traditionally always adopted MDOT's targets. Creating our own would potentially be a very lengthy and tedious project. I actually don't even know if they're MPOs. Do you know of an MPO that makes their own? Maybe SEMCOG in Detroit, but I mean, they also have like 80 employees, so that's why they do it themselves. And then also, I always like to add this bit because it comes up usually at TAC meetings. In regards to the wording of the document included in your packet, think of targets as estimations. So I remember before we had a couple members be like, why is our goal to have this many deaths? Well, it's like, it's not our goal. It's always 0 deaths. But so just think of target as estimations for that. And these are for the calendar year 26. These come through MDOT every year. So again, if no comments or questions, adjustments on that, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make the motion.
All right, we got a motion and support.
Support.
All right, motion and support. Any further comments or questions? All right, all in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And then opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries.
That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Alec. All right, comments by MDOT.
Okay, it looks like I'm the only one covered for Heather today. From the Lansing side of things, the federal aid buyout program for fiscal year 2027, that wrapped up on Friday. Looks like we received about $48.9 million in federal funds to be swapped with those state dollars. So that's the one update from Lansing. From the region side of things, we're going to be updating our 2017 Grand Region non-motorized plan. RFP went out late last year. So right now we're kind of looking over those proposals and hopefully getting a good consultant on board here in the near future. And then looking forward to working with the Macc on looking over your guys' plan and then developing ours. That's all I have.
Very good. I don't see federal highway here, so we probably don't have any federal highway comments. So I'm going to jump to,
Just
oh yeah,
quick question.
Yep.
Is it $49 million more or less than we've received in the past?
For the buyout program?
Yeah.
Well,
It's a regular funding type thing?
it's just swapping federal funds for state funds. So local municipalities, they trade in their federal, I think, STPG funds, and then we take those, give them state funds that are a little bit more flexible. I'm not sure how much they'll, like I said, last year, we did not do the federal aid buyout program, but the year before, I'm not sure how much was overall submitted.
The last 2 years, you haven't done a
There are 2 years.
buyout. Yeah.
Okay.
and it's a popular program.
It is,
Yep.
it is. I think they had 30 applications in the first 15 minutes or something like that. It was very, very robust early on.
Which is good.
Yes, good for everybody.
All right.
Good for money.
So jumping to the administrative update, our first item is, we had David Wright last Wednesday. We invited him to come to Holland, and the nice thing is he loves Holland. He presented at the MTPA conference, which the Macc hosted. That was the statewide conference. He presented over the summer, and the presentation went really well. And I thought that it would be a good idea to get him here and have a little smaller group, get him in front of the board and maybe some other folks within our community to kind of just hear that story, what Bentonville's been doing in the last 15, 20 years. And he gave a really good presentation, kind of talked about economic development, talked about safety, certainly talked about biking, as Bentonville has dubbed themselves the mountain biking capital of the world, and what that means and what they've done. So there were certainly some good things that best practices we could take from them, but wanted to have that opportunity to have him speak. I know some of you guys were able to make it, which is great, but I wanted to follow up, and anybody that attended that presentation, if they had anything that they wanted to say about it or add or share with the group here for those that weren't able to make it.
Yeah. Jason, his presentation is great. I've actually been able to visit Bentonville and Fayetteville a few different times and was fortunate to see the bike trail. I didn't have my bike along. But the economic, or, the impact on the whole community is really what he was there talking about. From restaurants and motels, everything else that involves all the tourism that comes in. And I think the biggest thing I took away from it is the regional aspect. It was like, a city can't do it on their own, a township can't do it on their own. Fayetteville, Bentonville, everybody has their own little things to do. But to collaborate like we do here at the Macc on a few things,
Yep.
I would say that one was on steroids.
Yeah.
They have a major pusher with the Walton family.
Yeah.
So a big donator, which
Yeah.
helps have seed money to come in. But it's not like we don't have seed money around here either that can get behind projects. And I think communication always is the key, that
Yep.
we're trying to find a singular focus for all of us that see the benefit of any of the projects that we're working on. Whether it's from a park to bike paths, so we don't have dead ends, type of thing that we have through ways through our communities. And I think for what we've done in the past, it's been really good. Could be great, but I think we keep making a lot of positive things in that direction. So it's just great to see and hear from Bentonville that they might be 10 years ahead of us on
Yeah.
some of the things that they're doing. But
Yep.
yeah. He said that this is his favorite place to come, is Holland. So that's always nice to hear, that we recognize this area as well as I think, a well-organized and welcoming community for people outside as well as what we can do for our own citizens in the area. So.
Right. Yeah, that was my big takeaway is that idea that Bentonville was kind of trying to do it on their own, and they realized that Northwest Arkansas, when they started to get that branding, they really were able to join forces and go after some of the federal dollars, as well as some more philanthropic dollars, and kind of weave together a bigger picture. And I think that's something that the Macc could do. And we actually started with our non-motorized plan update, is working with each one of you guys to understand what's in your master plan, and then what we put together is kind of that regional view, and then now we're finding where the gaps are, and then maybe helping prioritize. So I think there's that next step that we can do at the Macc, is really is put that regional view, put a spotlight on that, and kind of help all of us understand what might be a priority regionally, as well as you guys know what your priority are local, but we can help you with that bigger picture. Mm-hmm. And that was
I
kind
was
of
really impressed as well, and I appreciate you inviting me and sending me a reminder. As Russ said, that they're ahead of us, but I also thought I heard him say, but they started behind us, but they were advanced now compared to when they started their project.
Mm-hmm.
And I was glad to see that the Ottawa County Parks had a representative there as
Yep.
well.
Yep.
I mean, I looked around and I saw Kurt there, so that's good. I walked away excited about it, actually.
Yeah, well, that's great, and that's kind of what I wanted is raise that excitement level with all of us, because sometimes, you come to these meetings, and we try to think regional, but you go back to the day job, and the day job is, I have to do this for my township or my city or my road commission, but just know that we're here at the Macc to always think regionally, and if there's anything that we can do to kind of put that mindset forward, then that's what we're going to do. And I think there is an opportunity to do some branding, potentially for the region, to kind of help us get into a little bit more alignment. But
And this is my excited face, by the way. So.
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I was excited too.
And the best part, David is cheap. We're only paying for his flight, hotel, and some meals. And an Uber back and forth to the airport. So a lot of these influential speakers will charge you a speaker fee.
Yeah.
David is at cost, pretty much. So.
And it's that relationship as well, and it's something that the Lakeshore Leadership Council, of which the Macc is a member of that we talk about, how do we how do we help influence and support the community? And this is one way. We were talking about having speaker series, which I know Travis is having a speaker series, his first speaker last week as well, over at ODC. But the Leadership Council, we were talking about potentially visiting these communities and finding out what their best practices are. But we also realized that we have best practices as well. Other communities want to emulate what we're doing. So, you know, I think we always need to keep the eye on the future and having best practices and those relationships. David said he's always just a phone call away. Whatever we need, you know, he can help with what his experience has been, which is great. That was really good.
I thought his best quote was, "Bike paths are a business development opportunity."
Yeah,
It's
it's economic
public
development.
spaces are
Yep.
business development opportunity. Everything's related to their externalities. They're really good. That's hard for people when they see their tax dollars being put into a bike path. They always kind of wonder what's in it for me.
Right.
And I think that will help, at least in Lake Town. Although we don't have very many businesses, we have 2 hotels, 1 restaurant, and a hardware store. But it does help sell it.
Yep, and he did have some of those slides that talked about the economic value in terms of home prices. The closer you are to one of their trail systems, they have that data.
We're trying to figure out how to get prices down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you own something, you want the value to go up, but if you're trying to get in, you want it down. So yeah, we get it, but still, that's an amenity that actually is good. You know, that's going to attract and retain talent.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. And we know the business community is trying to do that every day.
I thought I walked away going like, I agree with all what's been said already, but one of the takeaways I had was the flywheel is moving there. I mean, they had all the pieces and parts, but it's now rolling pretty intensely. And so the filter they have in Bentonville is how's this cycling, bicycling, hiking network integrate with parks, integrate with economic development. You know, so the filter isn't it's just a bike path. No, it's a gateway to connecting communities, economic development, connecting kids on bikes to their schools. I mean, the mindset is just part of their
The culture,
the
right?
culture right
Yep.
now is that it's not just an add-on. Hey, we got a path. No, it's a path that gets a kid safely to a school, and he lives a healthy lifestyle. You know, all right, okay. Or hey, it's a path to dinner that leaves $100 bill on a restaurant's table. I mean, it's that type of stuff. The filtering system is different than the norm.
Yeah, that's
So,
such a good point. Yeah, when what you're doing is not considered an add-on, it's
Yeah.
part of it's
part.
the cost of doing business that helps everyone.
Everyone.
Yeah, and that is their culture, and I think we're pretty close to that too. But I think there's things that we can improve on too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One final thing to add that I like that he said is all it takes is one missing link for someone not to use it. Too, when they talked about the kids, where they have this beautiful bike path to get to the school, but if there's a missing link to get across the road, then it's not going to get used at all. So it's important to get those connections and links in there.
Good point. Very good. So, more to come on that, but my thought was maybe, once a year, do something similar to see if we do have relationships outside of our region, certainly within the state and certainly within the country. And we can kind of keep that going and dovetail nicely with what the Lakeshore Leadership Council is doing as well. So that was, I thought, a very good success story on our part, and we hope to continue to raise the bar. Next up, approval of the Macc sign. So that's the sign that's out front of our building. That's actually a rendering of what it will look like when we get a new sign and upgrade and paint the posts. But we did get 2 quotes. I ran this by the executive committee last week, and they were in favor of going with the low bid, and that low bid sign company is Sunray Signs. So if any,
Get more too. They're repainting it for a lower price. The Grand River sign says no repainting. And then also,
Sunray is local too.
and I also just want to add, I don't know how familiar, if you, it's one of those things that you never pay attention to and you drive a million times. Our sign is, it's pretty rough right now, and the bottom part where we have the Green Commute Week logo actually is a Macc watershed project, which, I mean, it's still a thing, but it's more ODC. So we thought that'd be a great spot to put our Green Commute Week, because that's the new thing we're kind of really focused on for that.
one of the things that we're definitely recognized as being a leader in, which is good.
We also looked at getting an electronic version for the bottom one.
To get a quote,
Just to get a quote, because we're like, then we could put meeting dates on there and Green Commute Week information. 22,000 for that. So we thought that jump wasn't really worth it.
Plus, we didn't know if the township would approve it anyway, but we did get that quote. We're
I was
not.
gonna ask if you.
No. No, but this will go to the township. Sunray Signs said that they do fill out the application and work with the township to get that approval, and
It's nice because we're not modifying the sign structure, so you don't need a new permit. They'll check with the township to make sure.
yeah, you never know, but that's included in the quote. That's definitely included in the quote.
Is there anything else in your guys' parking lot?
Any other signs?
Or businesses?
There's a real estate office, but they have their own sign.
Yeah.
So this is just for our side of the two buildings there.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, we could lease out the bottom portion,
See if we could.
make a little money.
They just replaced their sign, the West Edge Real Estate, because they rebranded.
Never mind
We could
that.
ask them.
Yeah.
And I think they have a
You're
different
too-
address too.
Yeah, we share cost and snow removal and maintenance, but that's about it.
Is it gonna be a lighted sign?
Yep. Hopefully we'll do the LED inside, something cheaper than what's there now.
It is currently lit too.
Yep.
And Sunray is the only company that does, they have to get up on a cherry picker to replace this. They're the only company in town that we know of that has that ability to replace these type of signs. Because if it was lower to the ground, there's several other companies that could do it, but since it's up high.
And for this motion, I mean, I assumed that we would go with Sunray Signs because it's the cheaper option and they repaint it, but I added both in there just so if whoever does make this motion, it's Sunray Signs is the one that we're.
I move Sunray Signs, the proposal be approved.
All right, we got a motion, we got a support. Fantastic. Any other further comments or questions?
How long's it gonna last?
Well, the last one, how long did that one last? We didn't ask.
30 years probably?
Yeah.
Does it come with
I think-
a warranty?
Yeah.
I think we'll look into like power washing it occasionally because that, you get a lot of cobwebs and just grow, I mean, there's 15,000 cars a day.
This one we didn't have a plan or anything to maintain, but I think that'll help.
I think you should also keep checking on that concept of an electric sign, because having the ability to change the content and promote stuff, because it's pretty heavy
Yeah.
traffic.
Yeah.
It's true.
It might be worth the investment at some point in the future.
Yep. Yeah. Well, we know it has the electric there, so we could certainly look into that a little bit more to make sure that if there's anything they can do now.
Just that price of 22 sounds really high to me.
Yeah.
It sounds higher than, like, we have outside Grasset Fire Department, where they daily put stats out, they put warnings about no turn days and stuff like that. And that was not remotely close to $22,000.
And we can continue to look into that, just kind of have that discussion.
Because I think a lot of people drive by these
Yeah,
static
we do get a
signs
lot of
and
traffic.
they never see them. So,
All right, well, we had a motion and a second, and those, after that comment, any other additional comments? All right, all in favor, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
And then opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, on the financial side, we're moving right along through this fiscal year. Things are going well. We don't have any surprises at this point, which is good. I like that. We do have to start thinking about next year's budget, so that's coming up. But I don't know if there's any questions or comments on the budget, but everything is moving along just as planned, which is nice. Okay. Next up is the executive committee report, which was attached, and obviously we've already done the sign discussion and the Bentonville discussion. The only other thing that we discussed is next month, if you recall, we did update our bylaws, so in February, we do the executive committee assignments are voted on, and certainly any new members, which we will have new members with the township, as in Zealand, as well as the city. New mayor, and Jacob Bonema was appointed from the county, which is good. So we will make that. We'll have that discussion certainly at executive, and in next month's agenda, you'll see the slate of officers and be prepared to vote on that slate. So that was the only other update that we had at exec. At this point, I think we're going to run to member comments. Usually we start with the host.
Yeah, we've had some significant changes at the township in the last 30 days. We have a new supervisor, Carrie Bosma, a new clerk, Brian Van Dusen, which we appointed him last Tuesday, and then I left town for a few days, so I don't even know if he's been sworn in yet, but we do have a new clerk, so that leaves one trustee seat that needs to be opened or filled yet, and then we've got some staff positions that we're looking to fill. So someone is still here to keep the lights on, that's me, so we're okay. In other news, we are interviewing master plan firms tomorrow night in hopes of getting that project off pretty soon, and then PA 233 and solar farms has kind of been on the agenda here recently, if you haven't heard. So I had some slave labor / my kids bring chairs in for additional seating for meetings, so we're covered if we have a packed house.
Well, I will throw out that you guys asked us to help with this master plan process, and Macc is certainly excited to do that, and I will be at the meeting tomorrow night to support you guys and appreciate that relationship, and look forward to that.
Thank you for your help on that.
Yeah, sure. All right, Al, do you want to go?
Sure, I got a couple questions for you, actually.
Okay.
Kind of interested in a solar issue, opportunity, whichever side you're on with that. And I can only go by the data that I'm getting
Yep.
from the papers.
Yeah.
Are some of the farmers that signed up for that wanting to get back out of it?
I haven't heard for sure if that's the case, but I've heard that that some may have signed on to be part of what they thought was just a study.
Right.
But now that it may have actually committed them to being somewhat involved. I know that RWE Solar is the company that's primarily pushing this area. They're now out promoting a good neighbor agreement, which is glorified hush money, as I would call it. So I know that that's kind of ruffled some feathers, and you know, our planning commission right now, we have a solar attorney that we've contracted with Bloom Sluggett. We are coming back with what is the hopes of the incompatible workable ordinance. And I think the workability of that ordinance, everyone has a different opinion on. I think what we're kind of learning is what we can really regulate before you push them to the cliff to go through the state process is pretty limited. It's some setbacks, maybe some screening, maybe, you know, some property sizing, some sound regulations, but you're not going to get, I think there's some people in the audience that want certain things, and we're learning, you're not gonna get that. It's just, you're gonna have to suck it up, and you're not gonna get that. So, that's kind of where we're at with things. Not to take a political stance on things, I'm not allowed to, but what I've said all along through this is, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle you lean on, whether you're far right or far left, this loss of local control should be a concern for everybody, because if it happens with this one, it's what's the next issue we're gonna lose control on. So just keep your ears open, and that's really where the fight is for me. It's not, as I've said on a personal level, I didn't grow up on a farm. I lived in Drenthe, and if I'm driving east of here, I'm not gonna lose my mind when I see solar panels. I'm not gonna be like, oh, these things are so ugly, but it's more just the fact of that loss of control is where I'm concerned. So.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I guess one of the things I asked that for is we just put a moratorium on data centers in our township, because that's a new push. I agree with you, the local control should still be there. We also have a battery project that's ongoing, and I thought, came up with a very good ordinance with the help of MTA and our lawyer, and this company is going to sidestep us and go through the state. And I don't know, I see what's happening in Blendon Township and here in Zeeland, and the general public is just all up in arms. And I don't understand why we don't tell them a little bit more, unless I'm wrong, and that's why, I guess why I'm talking is and asking. I'd like, if we have something like that in our township, I'd like the lawyer to say right off the bat, it doesn't matter what Olive Township wants, because they're gonna go through the state. Is that not a true statement? And there's not much we can do locally to stop that, unless we overturn that at some point, which
Could happen.
and then, I know you want to stay neutral on it, but I'm not going to stay neutral. I hate windmills. I think they're ridiculous if you got to continue to feed money to those. I've got a friend up in Ludington that's got one on his property, a farmer, and one on some lease land that he has. He says it's a 30-year payback. None of us as a business world would ever buy something that would take 30 years to pay back, and by then it's shot. And the solar panels, I don't feel a lot better about it. I hate to see waste in our federal government, and I've been told as long as we got the current administration, some of those things won't happen, but administrations change in the White House, they will. And it's kind of sad to me how much taxpayer money is wasted. One administration does this, the other reverses it. And alls I hear, even currently, the things that are going on nationally, is, well, they're going to sue them. They're going to sue them. There's a lawsuit, and that's all taxpayer money too. I'm very sad about some of the greater things we have. That's why I live in Olive Township, where everything goes smooth.
There was a countywide conference 2 weeks ago that, if you had a chance to attend that, I thought it was well done and a lot of good information. Yeah, hearing a lot really of what the state controls. The only thing we have in our favor is the watershed, and so Joe Bush can help with regulations there to make sure at least we don't ruin our water with any of these other projects, and make sure that's under control. So maybe that's help us keep control, of what happens on your large acreages for, that have been mostly farmland in the past. So.
All right, yeah, we're working on our master plan too, through PCI, and the survey went out about a month ago, got a really good, well, not all positive response, but quite a few responses, but some of but you know how that goes sometime. But no, I'd say the survey was a success, and yeah, like Al was saying with the data centers too, we put writing up a moratorium at least until we get our master plan done. We have it all, so which zoning district we want them in, or if that comes up. So like all moratoriums, they got an expiration date, so our next planning commission meeting, that will be discussed when the expiration date of that moratorium will be, so. Yeah, that's the main thing going on. A lot of people complaining about property taxes right now, so it's like, we got a new assessor, and they're doing a great job, but a lot of people don't like that, because now all of a sudden, oh. But, well, that's about all I have, so.
Very good.
I have a question for you on that. Are you assessing houses at a higher rate when they're closer to a bicycle path?
We don't have any. So that part we don't have to worry about. Well, so.
Larry, what do you think?
Well, earlier this month, we had our annual meeting with all of the townships in Allegan County. I think it went fairly well.
It did, very well. The crowd is, but.
Yeah, yeah, we about maxed out on capacity there. We did it all in one night. We had been splitting it up before, but we did manage to get everybody in there that night. I think we had 2 empty chairs or something.
No, I took the last chair.
Yeah, is that right? And just prior to that, matter of fact, I think it was the same day, we let the bids for the paving program on the primary roads in Allegan County. And it came in just slightly less. The prices, the net prices were slightly less than what they were last year, so we were happy about that. Our local package is coming out in early February, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, we've just been plowing a lot of snow that I thought was supposed to fall into Ottawa County. I thought we had some kind of an agreement here, but apparently not. So, yeah, we've been out several days in a row on the weekends and stuff. I'm sure they have as well.
All right, thanks.
As an at-large, I guess my portfolio is potpourri. So here goes. On the lines of the solar fields, we do have a proposal in Allegan County for 700-acre solar field that would cross into 2 townships, Hopkins and Monterey townships. And if you want an issue that kind of increases citizen involvement in local government, that is it. I share the concern about the lack of, or the taking away of local control, because as a couple of the local government leaders have said, if the Public Service Commission does not like your ordinance, they can overrule it. All 3 members of that Public Service Commission. So I think that's an area that needs reform. And I don't know if we've, as a state, I mean, I've heard that, you know, depending on who you talk to, you're anywhere in the range of, we need to put 400,000 to 700,000 acres statewide into solar fields, and most of that is, you know, kind of south of a line across Mount Pleasant and Muskegon, you know, to Bay City, so to speak. So all of the prime farming country in our state. Well, I wonder if, you know, you take that much out for the 20 to 30-year life of these solar fields, and people have been complaining about the high price of food. What do you think it's going to do when you take that much acreage out and diminish supply? And then I know the Michigan State's Extension Service has an educator who's fairly well informed on this issue. And he might be, frankly, somebody that would be, we did have him once down in Allegan County a couple of years ago, but as these solar fields kind of head for maturity with proposals, you know, in Ottawa and in Allegan, and you know, it might be worthwhile to ask him to come down and give us kind of the state of the art, because it's now, that was a couple of years ago. But one of the points I've never heard in any of the presentations that he makes is that, you know, because these are leases, they're not, you know, when the solar panels stop working, which they tend to do in 20, 25-year increments, depending on climate, and, you know, the developers walk away from the leases because the leases are done, the impact on the ground of taking out all of the pillars on which the solar panels are positioned can be catastrophic and reduce the yield of what was once prime farmland. So, I mean, I think it's a very important statewide issue, but certainly, because we are the growing part of the state here, a very important regional issue for us. So the second part of my potpourri is that I had a chat with Matt Nyans, the manager at West Michigan Regional Airport. They kept the airport open through all of the wind and snow and intermixed with rain. They have purchased a new piece of equipment, a used piece of equipment, big brush, that has helped them keep up with that task. I'm done.
The only thing I'll have to add is, I think a regional asset that we just implemented with the ice park, that has been very popular. So far to date, we have sold out each and every session for the ice park. So just something that I think we talked a little bit earlier about bringing people to the region. It's things like that we all have that collectively make people want to move here. We are excited this spring to start the pump track, and the ice park will actually be the base of operations for Velo kids. So getting that biking and getting that community really engaged. I think one of the things we may underestimate in working through that kind of that pump track process is how big biking really is in this area. Upper Macatawa, Velo kids, I mean, it is a destination that people are starting to come through. I think it's just really important that as we all implement our plans, whether they be big or small, or just bike paths or a pump track or whatever it is, it really will make an impact on attracting more people. Talking through some of that stuff with the people that's their life, they live it. It's really important to them that you will get people to come here with things just as simple as a bike pack or being able to bike to school so your kids are safe.
Great.
No updates right now as far as service goes. We've just been really busy with our annual audit. It also is our triennial FTA review, so they request an insane amount of paperwork to go over, so we've been gathering that. And our fiscal 27 funding application is due to MDOT by February, so we've been busy. That's all I got.
Very good.
Yeah, the township, I think I've talked about the community center a couple of times, and it continues to hit record numbers of attendees from all the way from Grand Haven to Hudsonville coming in. So as far as a regional destination, trying to handle 900 people in a day in that facility stretches my staff over there, but that's been a great problem to have. We'll see how the summertime goes. Who likes to stay in air conditioning and not have to go out in 80, 90 degree humid weather? But and a lot of other things going on in there too, as far as rooms that are rentals, and we can host meetings like this, which I think is on next month's agenda. You'll be able to come for a meeting and visit the facility. So if you haven't been there yet. Projects in our township, we're in the middle of a upgrade in our township hall. Mostly remodeling inside the space that we have, just make more office space and secure areas, just so our staff feel secure of general public coming in and out, that we can handle that efficiently, as well as we did put up an eight stall garage in the back of our property there, put the trucks in that our inspectors use, just to make it easier in this kind of weather. They don't have to take an hour warming up their trucks and wiping off all the snow and all that kind of stuff. And then in later on this year, they should be starting on the water sewer department building, making a huge expansion there, just to handle more of the storage that we need for the larger vehicles and that type of thing. So I think we're spending a couple, $2, $3, $4 million on that expansion to make that building bigger as well. So that's about it.
Yeah, just wanted to touch on the PA 233 stuff, because we've been getting it kind of across Ottawa County, and with agricultural preservation being a pretty high priority for us, there's been obviously a lot of questions. So if you didn't know, when I'm not moonlighting as a county commissioner, I actually work out in Lansing for the legislature. So I kind of see both sides of this. Well, I'm on one side of it, but I hear both sides from the Lansing side and the local side. Best advice I would say, especially after our last meeting, is, if you do get approached by a solar company or a battery plant, or reach out to the township, or the MTA, or the Macc, or reach out to the county, because we've got people that are really looking into it. But like Jim said, the MPSC will just override whatever you do if they don't like it. But I sat down with RWE, RWB, the one that's looking at the big expansion in Zealand Township, and they really want local support, and so a lot of these companies don't want to have to go to the state. So, there is a little bit of leverage there. But just wanted to touch on that. Otherwise, we've got a new deputy county administrator coming on board. He starts February 2, comes to us from Berrien County, who was the full county administrator there. I guess he likes being a little bit more in the background, but he'll probably be working with a lot of you, on some of the more specialized projects, so we're excited for that. I think that's all I have from the county.
All right. Well, like Allen County, we're trying to keep the snow clear, the roads clean, and fortunately, not much we can do about the ice. We get calls every once in a while about plow trucks not coming through frequent enough for all residents. We do have all our trucks on a GPS, so we can tell you when was the last time they actually went into your subdivision or down your road, and that quiets down a few folks. So we do monitor all 50 plus some of our plow trucks out there. It is, it has been a challenge for all road commissions, and I've been at the community center last week, was especially busy because all the schools were closed.
So they still come by us.
Yeah, right. So we know where all the kids were at. They were down there.
A couple of comments on reacting to some of your other comments that have been made. In the Massachusetts area, the Boston suburbs past the 128 Beltway, there are an awful lot of solar panel installations on state highway department land in the middle of Cloverleaf, where you have land that can't be used for commercial purposes. You're not taking away farmland if you clear that and put solar panels in. I don't know what DOT's position on that is, but that might be an opportunity to get some lease money from state property and take the load off the farming community. Now, they are smaller parcels than typically a solar farm would look for, but if you can link 3 or 4 of them in a cloverleaf, you wind up with quite a bit of sizable surface area for solar panels. And the other comment is kudos to Macc. We had that terrible accident on 196, and you guys supplied buses to help move people around, and that's a great community service that we I'm sure are all thankful for.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, we try to do whatever we can for the community.
Fantastic.
Just to pile on the solar stuff, if you have any property that is adjacent to a waste management facility that is vacant, I would just raise your ears, and we found out through the grapevine that Waste Management entered into a 30-year lease for 80 acres of property adjacent to our most popular park in Ottawa County for Park Township. It's the Riley Trails. So there's 80 acres that they had held in reserve because a part of that property was highly toxic after its closure as a dump. But it was sat vacant for the last 40 plus years. Well, just recently it has been let's say, at least to a solar company. Now, what we have heard through the grapevine is that it looks like Waste Management may have, this is a presumption, but probably with good basis, they probably have looked at all their properties around all their dumps to see if they could lease property and have entered into agreements with a larger solar property or solar company. And 80 acres in Park Township that has to be clear cut is not a very good solar potential. We actually would be very surprised if they cut down any trees, but they've actually put an installation of a solar panel construct very deep into the woods, and I'm not sure exactly why, except maybe they have working on an application to the state, because they certainly didn't come to the township for a building permit for that structure. And so we're not terribly pleased with it, but then again, I'm not sure, like my colleagues around the table, we can do a whole heck of a whole lot about it. But it'd be a tragedy to clear cut 80 acres next to Riley Trails. So it'd be local control. We celebrate tomorrow night. We will go to in a special session to sign a contract to engage Matt Butts. Matthew Butts is Assistant Manager at City of Granville, and he is going to be our new Township Manager. So we celebrate that. You'll see some news about that. So that's great. Hopefully, we got the paperwork flowing. That Park Township will be the proud owner of the Coast Guard Station. So through all the ins and outs of closures of federal government and this and that, it looks like we're going to be heading towards that here in the next couple of weeks, and so pretty excited about that. Thank you to Nancy DeBoer and Roger Victory, who secured $600,000 from the state budget, and we had tucked away a little bit of our ARPA money, and so actually that purchases on other people's money at this point, so that's kind of nice. So our Park Township taxpayers didn't have to pay too much for this one. And just a heads up, I had my first meeting today. Joe Bush, Pat, a couple other folks from the county came down, and we started the conversation about water. I think all of us have various struggles or opportunities with water, and the county sees this as well. And so, is there some movement towards doing some more collaboration amongst different municipalities to talk about water? And not saying that Park Township wants to be the leader on this, but we were very curious. We've had a few issues on a couple developments that the water levels have gone down, not come up, and where to bring the water, just their master plan, and said, okay, where do you bring water? And there's some interesting discussions individually, and I think that today I walk away from that meeting saying there should be some more conversations as a group about distribution of water. I sat in a meeting this past spring, or a couple months ago, and the conversation at the Wyoming water treatment plant was about their $600 million expansion over the next decade, 15 years. I just about fell off my chair, but no one else did. And I guess they're kind of used to having these capital projects roll out. And so the question I have is, is there any conversation about conservation, use of water? And if you ask an extra couple questions about water and why we're expanding it, it's for that June, July, August, when the sprinkling season begins. And so that was part of the discussion today, but the distribution side of it is interesting. Individually, we will probably lose and water rates will continually rise, but as collective group, we can make better decisions. So stay tuned. Hopefully in the next 12 months, driven by the county and their good leadership there, I think the townships and the municipalities will have a greater conversation about water. So I look forward to having that in 2026.
Thanks. Lake Township. So we had done a trial of bringing the interurban service into Lake Township so that it covered Saugatuck Township, Lake Township, Fenville, Douglas, and Saugatuck. It was very well received. And so the pilot has ended and the township board voted not to fund it anymore. So right now, there are some generous donors who are allowing the interurban to continue to provide service because they're funding it. It's an expensive donor process, painful, I have to say. So we're trying to figure out where we go in the future. It's going to take probably a vote of the citizen taxpayers to see if people will put their money where their mouth is in terms of supporting the interurban service. We have a stairway at Lake Town Beach that provided access to Lake Michigan that was torn down last year. And the township's Parks Commission, which is a separate elected entity that has no funding of its own, voted to install some new stairs. But they picked the second highest bidder as opposed to the low bidder. So the question is, do we spend $110,000 to put wooden stairs down to the beach and provide access? And our old wooden stairs lasted 35 years. Or do we install some fancy new aluminum ones for twice the price? And so we'll see how that one turns out. And we're just going into our budget season. We have a April to March fiscal year. So that's going to take up a lot of my time for the next couple months. I'm also hearing, Al, I'm getting people coming at me. Everybody's worried about their power bill going up if a data center is built. But that really is a regional issue because it's all the ratepayers within the consumer's service area. So I think we're going to be like you, John. We'll probably try to toss a moratorium in there. But then where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone's at an expiration date, just where do we put that? So.
Yeah. Finally, we have a moratorium on new short-term rentals in Lake Town through I think it's through the end of June. So we're just getting into the real hard work of deciding what we want to do with short-term rentals. We've banned new ones for freestanding homes. We still allow them if it's an accessory dwelling unit. But we have probably over 100 short-term rentals that even if we were to ban new short-term rentals going forward, we have a pretty big legacy issue with properties that are grandfathered. So unlike Park Township, our zoning ordinance was amended to permit short-term rentals in 2020. And basically, most places it's been fine, but when you have a dense suburb, small neighborhood, you get a party house at the one end of a cul-de-sac, it's a real problem. The places that have associations, like Castle Park and Macc, where those associations really sit on the owners, those places never get a complaint. But it's all the ones that came into being because of really post-pandemic.
Yeah.
And pandemic. So we'll see where the board goes on that. That's the news from Lake Town Township.
Very good. All right. Well, Carrie came in, so you get an opportunity to introduce yourself.
Okay, so I'm Carrie Bosma. I am the new appointed supervisor for Zeeland Charter Township. So my apologies, I'm new getting this onto my schedule, so I raced here as quickly as I possibly could. So looking forward to working with all of you and meeting you, those of you who I've not met yet.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate it. All right. Well, that will do it for us. Our next meeting is at Holland Charter Township at the Community Center. So we're looking forward to that. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
All right. There you go. And support? All in favor? Very good.